Your cat is trying to tell you something, and there's a good chance you're missing it, not because you don't care, not because you're a bad cat parent, but because cats don't break down the way we do. They don't cry, they don't slam doors, they don't sit you down for a difficult conversation. When a cat is hurting, emotionally, physically, quietly, they disappear into their own silence. And that silence is so soft, so familiar, that most of us mistake it for peace. Here's the unsettling truth. The happiest looking cat in the room might be the one suffering the most. Think about your cat right now. The one curled up on the chair. The one who hasn't asked for much today. The one who seems fine. What if fine is the disguise? What if some of the behaviors you've been brushing off as quirks, the hiding, the overlicking, the little snap when you reach down to pet them, are actually a quiet language of distress, spoken in a voice you were never taught to hear? In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the signs, the small, almost invisible signals your cat may be sending you every single day. Some of them will surprise you. Some of them might gently break your heart. And by the end, you're going to look at your cat with new eyes, and they're going to feel it. Before we get into it, do your cat one small favor. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for them. Because the more you understand what they're trying to say, the safer they get to feel in the home you share. And that's the whole point of this, isn't it? Now let's start with the sign almost every cat owner gets wrong. Number 1, the quiet cat trap. Silence doesn't always mean happiness. Picture this. Your cat is lying in their usual spot, eyes half closed, breathing slow, not making a sound. You smile to yourself and think, look at her, so content. But here's what most people don't realize. In the wild, silence isn't comfort, it's strategy. A cat who is sick, scared, or emotionally shut down will do everything in their power to disappear, to stop drawing attention, to become smaller, quieter, less. Because in their ancient, hardwired logic, the loud cat is the one that gets eaten. So when your once chatty cat stops greeting you at the door, when the little chirps and trills fade away, when meals are accepted without that familiar meow at your ankles, we tell ourselves they've simply mellowed with age or settled into the home. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes, more often than we'd like to admit, it's something else entirely. I once spoke with a woman who told me her cat, Olive, had become such a good girl, so calm, so undemanding. For months, she bragged about how easy Olive had become, until one afternoon she sat on the floor and really looked at her. Olive wasn't calm. Olive was withdrawn. She hadn't purred in weeks. She hadn't played in longer. The good girl was a cat who had simply given up trying. The hardest signs to catch are the ones that look like good behavior. A cat who stops complaining isn't always a cat who's happy. Sometimes they're a cat who stopped believing anyone is listening. And once they stop showing themselves to you in sound, they often start showing themselves in absence. Number 2, hiding more than usual. Every cat has their spot. Under the bed, behind the couch. That weird gap between the bookshelf and the wall that somehow fits a whole cat. Hiding in itself isn't unusual. It's part of who they are. But there's a difference between hiding and disappearing. A confident, content cat retreats and returns. They go off for a nap, then drift back into your orbit. They want to be near you, even when they pretend they don't. The unhappy cat, though, they vanish. They find places you didn't know existed in your own home. The closet you never open. The crawl space behind the dryer. The dark corner of the basement where they used to never go. And when you call their name, they don't come. They stay still. They stay hidden. I remember a man telling me about his cat, Miso, who had always been a shadow at his feet. One week, Miso started spending entire days inside a cardboard box in the spare room. Not the cute kind of cat in a box, the kind where the cat presses themselves into the back corner and stares at nothing. The man laughed about it at first. Then it stopped being funny. Miso wasn't being quirky. Miso was telling him something was wrong, about a new roommate, a new noise, a new tension in the home that the cat couldn't put into words. Cats hide the way we close our bedroom doors. Not always because we want to be alone. Sometimes because the world outside has become too much. And when they can't get away from what's hurting them, that pain has to go somewhere. Often it ends up on their own body. Number 3, over-grooming or fur loss. Grooming is one of the most beautiful things a cat does. That slow, ritual licking. The careful pass of the paw over the ear. It's hygiene, yes, but it's also self-soothing. It's how they say to themselves, I am safe, I am here, I am okay. But that same ritual can turn against them. Watch your cat closely. Are they licking the same spot over and over, long after it's clean? Is there a thinning patch on a back leg, a belly, the inside of a thigh? Are you finding more fur on the couch, on your clothes, in their bed than you used to? Cats don't have therapists. They don't journal. When anxiety builds inside them and has nowhere to go, it spills out through their tongue, quite literally. They groom themselves to the point of bald skin, sometimes raw skin, because the rhythmic motion is the only thing that calms the static inside their head. A friend once showed me a photo of her cat, Pepper, with a near-perfect bald stripe down one side of her belly. The vet ran tests, no fleas, no allergies, no infection. The diagnosis eventually was loneliness. Pepper had been left alone for longer hours after a job change, and her body was carrying what her heart couldn't say. It's one of the most painful signs to witness, because your cat isn't just unhappy. They're trying to fix it themselves, and they don't know how. When that inner storm doesn't find release through the tongue, sometimes it finds release through the teeth. Number 4, sudden aggression or irritability. You reach down to pet your cat the way you've done 1,000 times. And suddenly, a hiss, a swat, a bite that comes out of nowhere. You pull your hand back, stunned, maybe a little hurt. And you think, what's gotten into them? Here's the thing. Aggression in a previously gentle cat is almost never about you. It's a flare, a signal fire, a last attempt to communicate something that softer signals didn't get across. Pain can do this. A cat with a sore joint, a bad tooth, an aching belly will often lash out at the touch that used to feel good, because that touch now hurts. But it's not always physical. Stress can do it too. A new pet in the house, a move, a change in your schedule. Even something as small as new furniture in their territory can set a sensitive cat on edge for weeks. I knew a cat named Boots who had been a lap warmer his entire life. Then, almost overnight, he started growling when his owner sat next to him. She thought he hated her. She cried about it. It turned out Boots had a urinary infection that had been quietly building for weeks. The moment it was treated, the sweet old Boots came back, climbed into her lap, and pressed his face into her hand like nothing had happened. When your cat snaps, don't take it personally. Take it seriously. Because behind that flash of teeth is almost always a small, scared animal who has run out of quieter ways to ask for help. And sometimes that quiet cry shows up at the place we'd least expect to find it. The food bowl. Number 5, eating too much or too little. There's something deeply intimate about feeding your cat. The little ritual of the bowl, the sound of kibble hitting ceramic, the way they appear out of thin air the moment the can opens. Food is one of the strongest threads that ties you to them, which is exactly why a change in eating is one of the loudest emotional signals they can give you, even though it looks like nothing at all. A cat who suddenly inhales every meal like it's their last. A cat who picks at their food, walks away, comes back, walks away again. A cat who used to eat with enthusiasm and now just stares at the bowl like it's a stranger. These aren't just appetite quirks. They're emotional weather reports. Stress can shut a cat's appetite down completely. Depression can do the same. On the other end, anxiety and boredom can push a cat into overeating, using food the way some humans do, as a small comfort against a feeling they can't name. A woman once told me her cat, Luna, had started leaving half her dinner uneaten after the family had a baby. Luna wasn't sick. The vet checked everything. Luna was simply grieving, quietly, gently, the version of her life that used to exist before all the noise. Once they made small changes to give her back her own quiet space, the bowl started emptying again. Pay attention to the bowl. It tells stories your cat can't. And when their relationship with food shifts, often, so does their relationship with rest. Number 6, sleeping in strange places. Cats are creatures of habit, especially when it comes to sleep. The sunny windowsill at 10 a.m., the corner of your bed at midnight, the blanket on the couch in the afternoon. They map their day in naps, and those maps rarely change. So when they do, pay attention. A cat who suddenly sleeps inside the bathtub, on the cold tile floor of the kitchen, on top of the fridge when they've never gone up there before, tucked behind the toilet, pressed flat against a wall in a room they used to ignore. These aren't random new preferences. They're often a cat searching for cooler surfaces because their body is uncomfortable, for hidden corners because they feel unsafe, for distance because something in their old spots no longer feels right. There was a cat named Whiskey I'll never forget. He had spent every night of his life curled against his owner's chest. Then one week he started sleeping in the laundry room, alone, on the hard floor. His owner thought he was being moody, but Whiskey was 12 and his hips had started to hurt, and the soft bed she loved so much had become a place his body could no longer climb into easily. He wasn't rejecting her. He was protecting himself. Where a cat chooses to sleep is where they feel safest in that moment. When that place changes, something in their inner world has changed too. And often, the next thing to fade is the very thing that used to make them most alive. Number 7, losing interest in play. There's a particular magic in watching a cat play. The wide eyes, the crouched stillness before the pounce, the ridiculous sideways jump. It's one of the purest expressions of joy in the animal world. A cat at full play is a cat saying, "I feel safe enough to be silly," which is why a cat who stops playing is a cat telling you something profound. Maybe the toys that used to send them spinning across the floor now just sit there, untouched. Maybe the laser pointer gets a brief, half-hearted glance instead of the full chase. Maybe you dangle the feather wand and they just blink at you like, "Why are you doing this?" It can be easy to chalk it up to age. And yes, older cats slow down. But true joy never disappears completely in a healthy, happy cat. It just gets softer. I once heard about a cat named Theo who had stopped chasing his favorite crinkle ball. His owner, worried, took him to the vet. Nothing physical was wrong. The vet asked one question that changed everything. Has anything in his routine changed? Turned out the family had stopped playing with him in the evenings after a busy season at work. Theo hadn't lost his spark. He'd just stopped lighting it alone because no one was there to share it. Play is connection. Play is trust. When it goes quiet, something in the bond has gone quiet too. But here's the good news. Almost everything we've talked about can be turned around. And it starts with one simple shift. Number 8, how to make your cat feel safe again. If any of this has hit a little close to home, take a breath. Your cat isn't broken. Your bond isn't broken. Cats are extraordinarily forgiving creatures. They don't hold grudges the way we fear they do. What they hold on to is patterns, and patterns can be rewritten gently, starting today. Begin with their environment. Give them a real refuge. Not just a bed, but a high spot they can climb to, a quiet corner that's truly theirs, a place no one will disturb. Cats need vertical space the way we need privacy. Let them have it. Then, slow down with them. Sit on the floor. Don't reach. Don't call. Just exist near them. Read a book. Scroll your phone. Let them come to you on their own time. You'd be amazed what changes in a cat's eyes when they realize you're not always asking something of them. Bring play back, even in small doses. 5 minutes a day with a wand toy. 2 minutes with a crinkle ball before bed. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be consistent. Watch the bowl. Watch the litter box. Watch where they sleep. These are their daily reports to you, and once you learn to read them, you'll never feel lost with your cat again. A vet once told me something I think about often. Cats don't need owners. They need witnesses. Someone who sees them, really sees them, even on the days they're hiding behind the couch. Be that witness. That's how you make a cat feel safe again. Your cat may never tell you in words how much you matter to them, but every glance, every slow blink, every quiet moment they choose to spend in the same room as you is a love letter written in a language we're still learning to read. So watch them a little closer this week. Listen to their silences. They're saying more than you think. If this video gave you something, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It genuinely helps me keep making these for you and your cat. And before you go, I'm curious. Where in the world are you watching from tonight? Drop your city in the comments. I love seeing where this little community of cat people stretches across the map. Give your cat a slow blink from me.